That's my boy Fight Fan. Fight Fan, thank you very much. He's been following me for a while. He's really knowledgeable about the sport. Part of it is we come from the same generation of fighting. We started with boxing before MMA existed. As fans. And there's different perspectives, being a fan or being a fighter and whatnot. And I try to meld those perspectives together, on this channel. And I think that's what guys like Fight Fan really appreciate about it. I'll tell you, there was a part of me, obviously my father was a criminal boss. And so I was inducted into that criminal lifestyle. And there's a part of me that always said, why couldn't I have followed my dreams? Why couldn't I have gotten into boxing? But, when I left my father's life, I became very spiritual and I watched the things that happened around me. And I'll tell you some funny things that happened to me growing up. So yeah, I was always a karate student from the time I was little. I was always a wrestler, but I was always a huge boxing fan, right? When I go to SDSU, who's in my dorm? I think it was called the Conquistador. It was a private dorm. Who's in my dorm but the Goosen's son? I don't know if it was Joe or Dad's son because I never got close to the kid. But I went up to him. He wore a 10 Goose boxing shirt. And the thing you got to understand, and I know Fight Fan will understand this, is fighting sports weren't big back then. So nobody knew who 10 Goose boxing was. Nobody cared about it at all. People followed NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball. That's about it, right? So I came up to him and said, hey, the Ruelas brothers, Raphael, Gabriel, Michael Nunn, and we started talking about all that. And he didn't really want to talk about it because, as my girlfriend at the time said, he's not a jock, Derek. He's not into that. But I truly believe that was God's pass at trying to induct me or get me next to people into something that I was truly interested in. Fast forward, a certain amount of years. It seems like a bazillion, but I don't know, probably 4 or 5 years. I'm graduated college and I'm working for my criminal father. And who's in prison with him but the gopher for the Goosen brothers? He was a cocaine dealer and he used to do stuff for them around the gym and in the promotion or whatever. And so my father gets me tickets to the Oscar de la Hoya Rafael Ruelas fight. So that was my first really big boxing match out there. And, I could have, at that age, I was still really young. You don't realize it, but I was, 24, 25, whatever. I could have inducted myself with Dan, and I remember Dan staring at me, because he knew he had gotten me the seats, but I didn't say anything back because I was too shy. But I really believe that was God's way of saying, hey, you wanted your introduction in this world, you want an introduction in this business, here it is, take it, seize it. And of course I didn't, and that's all on me. That's life. We live and learn. But I will tell you something about being part of a criminal family. It's you guys against the world. It has to be, right? Because the world judges you very harshly for who you are and what you've done and all of that. But yeah, man, I think that's where my depth comes from. I've had my pulse in the fight game my whole life, in it, around it, watching it, being a fan of it. And I think that's why the channel is so fun for everybody. And it's really actually fun for me. I love sharing these anecdotes. Everybody, you want some more in-depth stuff? Read my book, Warrior of the Light, because I can't remember it all. It's why I wrote it down.